Obama is now the laughing stock of the world. Just watching him touting U.S. hypocrisy for all the world to see at the UN embarrasses any thinking U.S. citizen. I mean, doesn't this clown realize that everyone can see through his jive?
Today we see the collapse of strong men and fragile states breeding conflict and driving innocent men, women, and children across borders on an epic scale. Brutal networks of terror have stepped into the vacuum.
You're the one who caused it. Your regime change in Iraq, Libya, and now your disastrous attempts in Syria has fostered terrorist groups who you arm to fill the vacuum. Everyone knows there's no difference between good terrorists and bad terrorists. They work together, trading U.S. weapons with each other. And who couldn't keep from laughing hearing Obama shriek about Russia invading Turkish airspace while his hypocrisy is on parade?
We recognize the deep and complex history between Russia and Ukraine, but we cannot stand by when the sovereignty and territorial integrity of a nation is flagrantly violated. If that happens without consequence in Ukraine, it could happen to any nation gathered here today.
But it already happened without consequence in Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya, and almost Syria, and that's why no nation trusts America anymore. It could happen to them too. Veiled threats tell it all.
As President of the United States, I am mindful of the dangers that we face. They cross my desk every morning. I lead the strongest military that the world has ever known, and I will never hesitate to protect my country or our allies unilaterally and by force where necessary.
Right. America's way or the highway to a living hell. And don't point the finger at Russia, Obama. Syria never asked for your false war on ISIS, but Russia was invited to do the job. The world's a troubled place thanks to American imperialism. But Obama seems to think anti-Semitism is the problem.
Most ominously, we see the fears of ordinary people being exploited through appeals to sectarianism, or tribalism, or racism, or anti-Semitism. Appeals to a glorious past before the body politic was infected by those who look different or worship God differently. A politics of us versus them.
More like Jews versus us. Where else did Obama get his disastrous foreign policy but from the Jews of the Project for a New American Century, now Foreign Policy Initiative, who wrote the scary Building America's Defenses? The usual suspects were among the signatories: Kagan, Kristol, Cohen, still active in spreading wars with the Jews around the world. Their neocon Pax Americana, more like Pax Judaica, has created nothing but misery in their hellish regime changes that only benefit Israel. And all we're left with is a broken country at home. But Obama's lies keep on coming.
The United States is not immune from this. Even as our economy is growing and our troops have largely returned from Iraq and Afghanistan.
Stop there. Our economy is not growing, it's shrinking. And our returning soldiers can't find jobs while their suicide rates are on the rise. I can't think of a worse time in American history, can you? America needs to admit its failures and apologize to the world. But don't count on it. When Jews rule a country, repentance is bad policy.